not all superheroes have superpowers. Take Batman and Iron Man, for example. Neither of them have superpowers, yet we still consider them to be superheroes. Granted, they are both billionaires with unlimited access to technology and fictional characters, but I think we can learn something from them. What we can learn from them is that everyone has the capacity to be a superhero, even if you don't have the powers that match. So, for all of you who have ever wanted to be a superhero, I have good news. You do not need to be bitten by a radioactive spider. You don't need to have any genetic mutations, and you do not need to have been born on a different planet. You don't need to have super strength or the ability to fly, or even to be a billionaire, although that would be nice. Because there are powers that are more important. And most importantly, what it takes to be a superhero is something that is inside all of us, and that is the ability to believe in ourselves. In June of 2014, I stood up here and gave my icebreaker speech, and I told everyone about my favorite superhero, the most important woman in the world. Her powers were compassion, love, and creativity. And even though she didn't have superpowers, that didn't make her any less of a superhero. Today, the most important woman in the world, my mother, would have been 51 years old. And in her memory, I'm going to teach everyone here what it takes to be a superhero. So let's get started. The first and foremost thing that you need to think about is your mindset. Because in order to be a superhero, you need to believe that you are capable of being a superhero. In order to do that, you must assume the superhero position. You need to stand with your feet about shoulder width apart, your hands on your hips with your elbows bent, and stand straight and tall. And you are on your way to becoming a superhero. And as an added bonus, if you look off into the distance, you look pretty cool. Now this position is a power position, and its benefits are backed by science. A study by Harvard social scientists says that if you stand in this position for just 2 minutes, your levels of testosterone will raise by 20%, making you more confident and more willing to take risks. And also, it will reduce your level of cortisol, the stress hormone, by 25%. Imagine all the things that you would be able to accomplish if you had the confidence to believe in yourself and weren't being held back by stress. Probably a lot more than you normally would be able to. Now it makes a little bit more sense to me why Superman and Wonder Woman were always standing like this. It really helps. All right, so now we've got our mindset. Next, we need to think about what we're going to fight for. Now, superheroes don't have to go out and fight crime and tackle bad guys and stop robberies. And actually, I would really not recommend that for most of us. What I would recommend, though, is to think about what you're passionate about. When you're having conversations with your friends or your colleagues, what is it that gets you fired up? Maybe you're really passionate about nature or the environment. Then you could fight against climate change. Maybe you're really passionate about teaching or learning. Then you could fight for education. Or maybe you're really passionate about following rules and the economy, and you've decided to become Monterey County's first superhero that is fighting against tax fraud. It doesn't matter if other people find your passion ridiculous. As long as you are passionate about it, and it's not harming anyone, then it's important, and it's worth fighting for. Because remember, for superheroes, you must use your superpowers for good, not for evil. So we've got our mindset, and we know what we're fighting about, or what we're fighting for. Now let's think about why are we fighting for that? Why are we so passionate about that? When we think about why, it gives us a backstory. Backstories are extremely important for superheroes. A lot of superheroes have tragic backstories. Maybe somebody that they loved was murdered. Maybe their home planet was destroyed. Or maybe they were the victim of some sort of crime. But I think that backstories can also stem from positive experiences. Maybe when you were in high school, you had a fantastic teacher who just made you really, really passionate about your education. And so from then on, you pursued a college degree and you became a teacher yourself. You're fighting for education. Maybe you went camping with your family a lot as a child, and suddenly you're very passionate about forest conservation because you want to take your family to the same place in the future. Whether your backstory is something that is tragic or something that is positive, it's important to have that as a superhero because it helps you stay on track towards your goals. So we've got our mindset, we know what we're fighting for, we know why we're fighting for it. Now we need to think about how. This is our powers. This is probably the most difficult thing to think about and to figure out when you're a superhero. To put that in perspective, let's look at my favorite superhero again, the most important woman in the world, and her power of creativity. She used the power of creativity to bring beauty into her life, which was often overshadowed by grief and by violence. By using this superpower, she was able to recognize that there would always be beauty in the world, and no matter how bad things got, there was always going to be something worth fighting for. Now, I don't know what my superpowers are. The most important woman in the world didn't know what her superpowers were. But looking back on her life, I'm able to see it because it's much easier for us to look at other people and see what their strengths are than it is to look inside of ourselves and figure out what ours are. So if you can't think of what your superpower is right now, don't worry about it. Until we're able to see the world through other people's eyes or have other people help us, we may not know what our superpowers are. But you'll just have to trust me that they are there. Okay, so mindset. What we're fighting for, why we're fighting for it, and how. Finally, we need an identity. Names are extremely important because they give us power. What we call ourselves and how we represent what it is that we're fighting for tells the world what they should be thinking about us. What if Wonder Woman had decided to call herself Okay Woman? What if Batman, instead of running around saying, I'm Batman, was like, I'm Loner Man? He does spend a lot of time alone, but doesn't quite have the same ring to it. Would these superheroes still be some of our favorites? Probably not, because we wouldn't have the same level of respect. As an added bonus to choosing your own identity, you don't get stuck with one that sucks. That's something to think about, because people will call you what they want to call you, and if you don't get in there and be like, this is what you should call me, they'll make it up. I would really give this some thought, because names stick with you for a long time. Trust me, I'm still trying to fight off Kimmy Cat, which I've had since I was 5 years old. That's it. In my opinion, that is what it takes to become a superhero. Each and every person in this room now has what it takes to become their personal superhero. But let me let you in on a little secret. When I look at this room, I don't see a room full of ordinary people. I see a room full of superheroes. I see a superhero who has dedicated much of her life to fighting gender inequality in the media, and who has inspired countless others to do the same. I see a superhero who has been dedicated to bringing etiquette to a world where manners don't always matter. I see superheroes who have dedicated their lives to protecting others, and the superheroes that teach them so they can do their job better. I see superheroes who are fighting their fear of public speaking by coming back to NPS Toastmasters week after week and facing it head on. We're all superheroes. Some people may disagree with that idea, but I personally believe in every single one of us, and I know that we are. How do I know? Well, you're just gonna have to trust me. I'm a superhero.